welcome to another edition of the Houn Show, brought to you by the Houn Show. I'm your host for the next few hours. Well, not few hours. I almost said few hours. Can't do few hours right now, but at least maybe somewhere around the next 40 minutes or so. We are doing a on the fly stream, so hopefully you have your notifications enabled on the stream, so you know when we're going live. So make sure you like, follow, and enable notifications on the channel. If you're watching currently on YouTube, we will be dropping the stream in about 15 minutes off of YouTube. So if you want to continue watching the full show, you need to head on over to Rumble or X at this point. We do have links in the description so you can reach our profile on each of these accounts and follow the show. A few housekeeping things. A number that you can call in if you want to join the show, you want to participate in the stream, you want to get on the podcast, ask some questions, discuss a topic that you think is important. Please call in. The number is 762-268-1605. It's on the screen right now. If you dial that now, you will get an auto attendant. It's going to ask you to speak your name, and you can say whatever you like. And then it's going to ring my phone, and I'm going to hear the name and accept the call. So you'll be on the stream. So it'll be a little bit of a delay. So hang on the line when you call. Once it's answered and you give your name, you're kind of in the queue and you're going to come up on the stream for the most part. So give us a call, 762-268-1607. If you'd like to, maybe participate in an interview, get in an interview, or maybe a discussion subject matter, you want to do something you want to cover over like a segment or whatever, you can email us at dixie.shank@protonmail.com, and we'll work out a time and we'll record a show, or we can do it live if you like, but and discuss discuss whatever it is you want to discuss, and we can work it out through email, setting it up. So email me at dixie.shank@protonmail.com, and we'll definitely set something up. So another additional item as well, if we're actually hoping to have a couple of guests later on in the stream. I imagine they're going to pop in at some point. These are very unique guests, so I hope everybody's prepared for uniqueness. I can't be held responsible for anything that's said. Let me turn my monitor down a little bit. It's a little high. But yeah, we'll have some guests here in a little bit. Hopefully they call in. Don't chicken out on me like the other night. We'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely call in. I mean, we'd love to hear from people, have a discussion on the air live. I mean, that's what makes things great, right? Public discourse, discussion. Let's hash it out. I don't pretend to know everything. And if you have an opposing viewpoint, or you have a viewpoint that you don't think that's getting the attention that it needs, then by all means call and we'll discuss it. I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to, right? This show's about exploration together for the truth. That's really what this show's about. And it's for the truth through the lens of a small town person. I mean, we're dealing with all kinds of powers and influences and just all propaganda, all kinds of stuff. And really, at the end of the day, I feel like small town America just wants to, work for a living, earn an honest day's pay their bills, support their family, and save, right? For retirement, for something to hand down to your children. I mean, that's what I feel like most people care about. And That's what this stream is meant for, is to look through that prism, and what kind of how do things look from that perspective, and how things should look or could look, depending on what you're hoping for. So we've got a few, I wouldn't say super duper headlines, but we do have a few things in the news. But I'm going to pause for a moment and just kind of talk about it again, just to reiterate. The station relies on people's support. So if you viewed the stream, you found it helpful and, worth the time, I guess to say. So we'd love for you to like, follow, and I add enable notifications, because what you want to, the way we do the show. So typically the way it works is Friday nights around 10 p.m. we'll go live with a specific topic that we'll discuss for the duration of the show, and we may have some guests on to discuss the issue, provide their viewpoints regarding the issue, and so we are kind of building up to Friday night, right? Or at least one night a week. Friday night at 10 o'clock seems like a reasonable time frame. So we're trying to build that, basically work towards that. And then everything else during the week is going to be kind of an ad hoc, on the fly stream. And so that's why I mentioned, you want to enable notifications for the stream, because, like, for instance, the past couple of nights we've gone live around 9:20. Tonight we didn't go live until after 10 p.m. So if you want to be able to catch the stream live in order to call in or correspond, with me or whatever on the stream, then you want to enable notifications so you can see that stream when it starts, or at least be notified that it's getting ready to start. So definitely enable those announcements or notifications. So a few things going on in the world. I mean, there's some interesting information that's come out in the past few hours, some impending news reports, impending stories about corruption in government, corruption in crypto, corruption in, just take your pick. I mean, honestly, it's a never-ending swamp, a never-ending deluge of corruption. It's everywhere. We've got corrupt officials in local government, state government, and federal government. All levels of government, there are corrupt individuals that are hell-bent on self-enrichment, and to everyone else's detriment, to the country's detriment. They don't care. It does not stand in their way. They have a goal, possibly an agenda, to, see this thing through. So we don't really know. But I suspect we're going to find out. There's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that kind of lends to that credence, that there's going to be a revelation. The truth always wins. And I think the truth is going to win, and we're going to find out exactly what's going on. Maybe not every single detail, but enough to understand what's been going on behind the scenes, what the American people have been asleep to for years, which we all have. I have. It was 2020 that really opened my eyes to, like, okay, this is some bullshit. I mean, up until 2020, I, had watched, I would watch the news. I'd watch mainstream news, mainly Fox, and I would kind of see the propaganda coming. I would, have this intuition that I would know that, okay, this talking head said this talking head said this. I can already see that it's going to play out this way. Holy shit, now we're going to have to deal with a bad news cycle for several months or whatever. I would know that it was, and that's picking up on the propaganda. I realize now. After the 2020 election and the coverage of that and how things went, I just turned it all off. I don't really watch any TV at all anymore. Done with it, right? It's all lies. It's all ridiculous lies. So I'm still waiting on the guests to see if they decide to tune in. Let me check on some information here and see what we got. They have almost arrived at their destination, so probably going to have a few minutes. We're going to wait until we get into latest news. But yeah, so lots of interesting things going on. There's been a few developments. There's actually been some resurgent of protect the children. And if you're a purveyor of truth, someone who seeks the truth and you look for the truth, you know what I'm talking about. And there's kind of been a resurgence of that over the last, I'd say, couple of months or so, which is good because when the first, I would say, resurgent or increase in being aware of it publicly and in groups and discussion topics, whatever. There wasn't a lot of information. There wasn't a lot. There wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of information, but excuse me, the mainstream media ran defense on it. Right? They protected these sick people, and what's happened now is there's so much information that's come out, so many examples. We've got Jeffrey Epstein, we've got P. Diddy recently, everything else in between. So, there has been a resurgence in this type of discussion publicly, and that's great. And I hope it galvanizes people's support in the right direction and wakes them up to what's really going on. People in the White House are sick, and what's even more disgusting are these people that defend them, making irrational comparisons, just obvious misdirection, obvious influence peddling. Not influence peddling, but influence disseminating. Like they are, able to craft language to manipulate people's perception or to reinforce it at least. And manipulate is the bonus. Because they got a lot of people out there that are already brainwashed, so they just want to reinforce it. And most of that content like that works that way. It just reinforces it. That's what they want. They want to keep everybody. An added bonus is if you can gain someone through it too. So whoever is gaining people, you'll see, is the most successful propagandist that's being used. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of news. So there's been a few things developing over the past few days. There's been some stuff with this this trend. Well, first, there was actually an interview done by Don Jr. the other day, Donald Trump Jr., I'm referring to, with, what is it, Jake Sullivan? And during this interview, well, we'll bring it up on screen here so we can just kind of look at it. All right, so we got, Jake's. That's John Solomon, excuse me, doing an interview with, he's being interviewed, or I guess he's doing the interview of Don Jr., but it's talking about the Ukrainian prosecutor that Biden personally handpicked, is the source for the story John Solomon broke today regarding the ex-prosecutor American that spoke up about a Biden corruption in 2018. So let me bring this up here, and we'll watch this this video.
Let me go to the story I broke this morning, the Bud Cummins story. Here's the amazing thing. You know who Bud Cummins was trying to bring to the U.S. Attorney in New York? He was bringing the Ukraine prosecutor that...
Bear with me.
Let me go to the story I broke this morning.
Stem cell technology that Peter...
Not sure why we didn't have audio there.
Let me go to the story I broke this morning, the Bud Cummins story. Here's the amazing... Let me go to the story I broke this morning, the Bud Cummins story. Here's the amazing thing. Do you know who Bud Cummins was trying to bring to the U.S. Attorney in New York? He was bringing the Ukraine prosecutor that Joe Biden personally handpicked to replace the one Joe Biden fired because that guy was investigating his son. Think about that. Joe Biden, the guy that was dealing with Joe Biden on this very issue, thought Joe Biden was corrupt enough, and he wanted to come to the U.S. Attorney and prove that. If that doesn't set off alarm bells, if that doesn't tell you, hey, the Justice Department probably should have looked at this, maybe it's not true, but at least look at it. They didn't. They kept. There's been a political protection racket, impeachment, the FBI circular, the 2018 approach by the Ukraine prosecutor. Every time something comes up about Joe Biden, there's someone in the government protecting him. Mike Morell's out there writing a letter declaring their laptop Russian disinformation when there's not a shred of evidence, and he admitted why he was doing it. I want to get Joe Biden elected. There was a political protection racket from 2016 to 2022 that has interfered with bringing any accountability to the Biden family. That is now irrefutable. The evidence is now sitting out in plain open.